Here's a timeline of Trump's lies on the COVID-19 crisis. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. All right, so it's amazing when you just look at all the lying that Donald Trump has done about this. Laura Clausen over at Daily Kos lines it up. If you go back to January 22nd, this was the first statement that Donald Trump made about this. Now, we've known about this virus since December. I mean, it was in December that apparently it started in November, but it was in December that the word got out of China that this was bad. It was spreading. The Chinese were doing something about it. But, a month later, January 22nd, Donald Trump said, he was asked, are you concerned about a pandemic? The possibility that what's happening in China could travel around the world. And he said, and I quote, no, not at all. And we have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China. See, now this is the first case in the United States. January 22nd. One person coming in from China, we have it under control. It's going to be just fine. And then 2 days later, on January 24th, he was again asked about it. He says, it will work out well. It'll all work out well. And then on January 28th, he tweeted out a story from One American News saying that Johnson & Johnson was creating a vaccine. That's new to all the rest of us. One American News is the right-wing news source that went to Ukraine with Rudy Giuliani to interview those corrupt prosecutors who were saying, oh yeah, Joe Biden, terrible guy. January 31st, Trump limited air travel by foreigners who'd recently traveled to China. He bragged about it on and on. He's still bragging about it. But he didn't point out he didn't limit the travel of Americans coming back from Asia. And he didn't ask them to go into quarantine when they got here. And he couldn't test them for the coronavirus because he refused to allow the FDA to certify the coronavirus test kit from the World Health Organization, which was widely available by then. On February 2nd, he was on Sean Hannity. He said, well, we pretty much shut it down coming in from China. On February 10th, and now it's becoming obvious that we should be having testing in the United States. February 10th, he says, well, it looks like April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it just miraculously goes away. On February 19th, he says, I think the numbers are going to get progressively better as we go along. On February 23rd, Donald Trump said, we have the coronavirus very much under control in our country. We had 12 people with the disease at one point, and now they've gotten very much better. Many of them are fully recovered. And then on February 25th, he was ranting about crying Chuck Schumer. He says the media is panicking markets by reporting on the coronavirus. He tweeted about that on February 26th. And at a February 28th rally, he told his acolytes, he said the Democrat policy of open borders is what's responsible for the coronavirus. And then he went on to say during that rally, he said, the numbers on this virus, they're going down, not up. We're going very substantially down, not up. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It'll just disappear. That was February 28th. February 29th, Trump claimed, we'll have a vaccine available very quickly. My administration has taken the most aggressive action in modern history to confront the spread of this disease. All lies. March 2nd. Trump says, hey, I just learned that the flu kills people, 20, 30,000 people a year. I didn't know that. I think most people would be shocked by that. I'm paraphrasing here from memory. And he tries to change the subject to flu. On March 4th, Trump goes on the Hannity show and he says that our fatality rate is lower than the World Health Organization's fatality rate. Well, actually, it's much higher because we're not testing as many people. On March 7th, he was asked if he's concerned that the virus is getting closer to the White House. He says, no, I'm not concerned at all. No, I'm not. We've done a great job. This was a statement he made just before he had dinner with the president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, who had two guys with him who've tested positive now. 3 of the people at Mar-a-Lago that night have tested positive for coronavirus. We should call this the Mar-a-Lago virus. On March 10th, he said, it'll go away. Just stay calm. It'll go away. This guy has been lying through his teeth all along. And meanwhile, Trump had put cuts on food stamps. Remember this a couple of months ago? The U.S. Department of Agriculture said we're going to cut food stamps nationwide. So they were asked, the USDA was asked yesterday, are you still going to cut food stamps? Yep, we're still going to cut it. They said the states have enough flexibility to deal with this. Right. And where did all this come from? Judd Legum and others. Actually, it was Lee Fong It's pronounced Fong, but it's spelled F-A-N-G. He writes for The Intercept, and his Twitter handle, if you're not following Lee Fong, spelled F-A-N-G, if you're not following Lee on Twitter, you need to, because he's just got the best stuff. He found the document where Americans for Prosperity, this is the Koch brothers front group, demanded that Congress cut millions of dollars, well, $2.5 billion to payments to the states for child care and development block grants, $728 million for children and family services programs, $610 million for Head Start, cut $500 million from the CDC for buildings and facilities, $363 million from the CDC for injury prevention and control, $162 million cut from public health and social services emergency, $138 million from the National Institutes of Health for the Office of the Director, $138 million from the CDC for chronic disease prevention, $135 million cut that they demanded the Republicans make. The Republicans, by the way, made most of these cuts. $135 million from community health centers, $135 from rural health programs, $54 million from the CDC's global health program. It goes on. It goes on for 5 pages.